Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is a special presentation. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while now, you know that I like to close out every year with a special presentation where I count down my most successful videos of the past year. This is generally just a top 10 in terms of view count, with a bit of curation from me to account for the fact that some of these videos have been out for months now, while others have only been around for a few weeks. And speaking of, we'll start with a couple of honorable mentions, and the first of which, Toph plus Caged Sun, was indeed published only a few weeks ago. This video centers around the question of whether Caged Sun's ability could count as a mana ability if it triggered from itself adding mana. The answer to this turns out to be somewhat ill-defined in the comprehensive rules due to some statements from two specific rules which appear to contradict each other. To answer the question from the original problem statement, I explore the history of those rules and talk about what interactions were behind each time that they changed. If you like rules history and meta discussions, this one is for you. My other honorable mention is Blood Moon plus Urza's Saga. This was a remake of an earlier episode in response to a rules change in how sagas work. My original video was one of the first daily rulings to be posted on Reddit, and it drew a lot of attention to the channel. Both of these cards are highly relevant in multiple constructed formats, and the new ruling had a fair bit of buzz surrounding it from the community at large, so I had no doubts that this video would do very well. In the number 10 spot is my video about Deadpool. Now, I knew this was going to be a popular one because ever since this card was spoiled, people had been asking me a lot of questions about how it worked with various other cards. Up to this point, text box exchanging has only ever appeared on one card before, and the way that Deadpool's functioned as a replacement effect was entirely new, and it brought several complications. Next up is the first of several patron picks, my video on winning the game with an illegal play. Through a rather contrived setup, it's possible to win the game by performing a chain of actions that starts with moving a spell onto the stack, even though you know you're not legally going to be able to finish casting it. This is a weird setup, and it was the subject of a lot of community buzz at the time, which is no doubt how it won the patron voting. It's kind of a new style of video for my channel too. Many other creators have covered a genre that I like to call rules stunts, where they combine wacky cards together to create an unexpected result. I've never felt particularly drawn to this brand of whimsy before, but the appeal is undeniable, so maybe I'll try some more in the future. At number 8 was another patron pick, this time advice on how to deal with difficult players, specifically those who seek to use the rules for their own advantage. If your store has a player who likes to say, well, actually, while pushing his glasses up anime style, give this one a watch. Magic is, at its heart, a social game that tends to be popular among people with subpar social skills, which means understanding the symptoms and working with the effects of that situation is inherently part of building a Magic community. This is a video that I never would have made if it wasn't being directly asked for, but I also appreciate my supporters who constantly push me outside of my comfort zone. The next video is one that I made after watching a video on Nikachu's channel about a situation he encountered in an RCQ. He talked about what happened to him during a deck check where a judge found an RCQ promo from a previous event that he forgot to take out of his deck box. Riding on the coattails of more popular creators is a really important skill to master for aspiring YouTubers like myself, although I think I might have messed it up by adding some original analysis instead of just paraphrasing whatever was said in the original video. I am really kicking myself for all the time that I could have saved by just having ChatGPT write my scripts like all the other cool kids do, but at least I got a comment from Nikachu himself on my video that made it seem like he'd actually watched it, which was pretty darn cool. In the number 6 slot is my video on Shoe If It, Osteo Whatever. This is another video that I knew would take off because it's a new effect, and we actually got a change in the CR to support it, and as Humility and Dressdown can attest, anytime you see the phrase no abilities on a card, you know there's going to be a ton of rules questions to answer. At number 5 is a video from the True Stories collection. At an RCQ, I had a ruling involving a disagreement between players whether an Ocelot Pride trigger had been remembered in time. Videos about the policy and philosophy behind the Mistrigger policy have tended to be very popular on this channel before, and the fact that this one came from a real call made it all the more compelling. Still, I was a little bit surprised at how well this video did. I decided to go into a bit more detail than I normally would because I thought it was a really interesting call, and I'm glad that my viewers agreed. Next up is another patron pick, and spoiler alert, all of the rest of the videos in the top 10 are too. What do you know? People are pretty good at coming up with ideas for videos that they will like. So in this one, I outline my ideas for fixing Magic's organized play. And in case anyone from Wizards is watching, yes, Magic events are in a dire state right now if you look at basically any metric besides the cherry-picked ones that WotC uses to delude themselves and investors into thinking that there's no problem. No, I don't think Magic's competitive scene will ever completely die. Just look at how Super Smash Bros. Melee is still around no matter how many times Nintendo tries to kick them in the gonads. But if you can't be bothered to watch the whole thing, the thumbnail isn't clickbait. I don't see any realistic path that leads to the Magic tournaments getting the attendance and enthusiasm that they once had, unless some billionaire wants to drop a pile of money starting an independent circuit. Incidentally, if that sounds interesting to any rich people out there who may be watching, I will gladly offer my consulting services free of charge if you want to get something set up. Furthering into the top 3, we have the weirdest ruling that I've ever had. And in contrast to a lot of my patron picks, this is one that I actually would have probably covered even without being asked. After over a decade of judging, I do have some stories, and it was fun to have a place to tell some of them. In the runner-up position, we have my video on counterfeit cards. Now, this is a popular topic for the Magic community, and I wasn't surprised to see this video do very well. I want to give another special shout-out to Gary from Postboard Games for helping me out with this one. Despite being a judge, I don't consider myself an expert on this topic, so having someone who actually is out there handling and buying cards every day was really key. Counterfeit cards are evolving every day that the price of Magic cards keeps going up, so understanding what you're up against is more important now than ever. And finally, in the number 1 slot is the video that I made when the patrons requested that I talk about what kind of Magic that I play. Honestly, I think it's really telling how the most popular Judging for the Win video this year, and one of the top 10 most watched videos I've ever posted to any of my channels, is me telling the story of how I don't play Magic anymore. The number of Me Too comments that I got on the video and via DMs reinforced that my story isn't unique. I was just the only one telling it, since almost all the other Magic creators are either bought and paid for shills who never say anything negative about the game, or drama and outrage channels who never say anything positive. But the story of slowly losing my connection with a game that I loved required both. After this video, there were a lot of people who were surprised that I kept on publishing. So in my mind, playing Magic is a totally different hobby from judging Magic or producing videos about Magic, and as long as I still get enjoyment from those things, I'll keep going. DDR number 1000 would have been a very satisfying number to put an end on, but to put it quite plainly, Judging for the Win is one of the best things that I've got going on right now, so I don't foresee that happening. By the way, that's thanks to all of you, my viewers, whose positive comments online and at the events that I go to keep me going. That said, I do think it's time for a change. If you noticed, all of the videos in my top 10 were longer form content. When I first started, DDR stood for Dave's Daily Ruling. Daily meaning once per day. My vision was that the best way to learn anything is a little bit at a time for a long time, so a short ruling that viewers could watch every day with low time commitment was the best way to structure an educational channel. I kept with this for a full year, publishing 2 to 5 minute rulings every day during the year of 2021. And while publishing DDR number 365 on December 31st, 4 years ago exactly, remains one of my proudest achievements of my life, I knew that it wasn't sustainable to keep publishing that way. And so I changed the production schedule to the one that I've kept for the last 4 years, publishing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and my rulings became daily only in the sense that they were published during the day. Especially during this past year, though, I've started to become dissatisfied with this too. For one, it's getting harder and harder to produce original videos. After 1,000 episodes, most of the rulings have come up before as the same concept but with different cards. Perhaps you noticed a dramatic uptick in the use of the phrase, check out my video on this card and that one for more details over the past month. I certainly did. Of what's left, most of the rulings center around one of 2 different camps. The first is wacky new cards that have never before seen interactions, for example Deadpool and Counterfeit. These cards tend to breed many rulings, but I think it's a better experience to package all of them together into a single, longer video than to make months worth of how does Deadpool work with X shorter videos. The other camp is deep dives into the history, philosophy, or technical considerations behind a more complex ruling, such as Toph plus Caged Sun, winning the game with an illegal play, or Ocelot Pride in a Surveil Land. These also do not fit neatly into a 2 to 5 minute package, and so I'm feeling like I've done most of what I can with the current DDR format, and the circumstances are drawing me towards making more longer form content. In fact, I have a sizey backlog of videos that I want to make, but I just haven't had time. Yeah, it turns out that tripling the length of a video triples how long it takes to produce it. Crazy, right? And actually, if I'm being honest, it's more than that. The recording and the editing might scale linearly, but the script writing and the research certainly do not. It takes much longer to produce a script for a complex topic than crank one out for a topic that I've covered dozens of times already. Now, I'd love to produce 3 long-form videos per week, but I cannot. Maybe if everybody smashes that like button and subscribes and I go super viral and can quit my day job and hire an editor, Well, maybe. But until that happens, it's not possible long term. Publishing 6 such videos in the last 2 weeks was absolutely brutal for me. There's no way that I can keep up with that. And so I'm announcing that there will be no update from this channel on Friday or Monday going forward. My new production schedule will be one approximately 10+ minute video every week on Wednesday. And it was either that or see if AI could write a passable script on triggered mana abilities. Now, I know that this will be a negative change for some people, but I'm hoping that for many more, it'll be a positive change. All of my most popular videos have been longer form, but I'm not just doing this because I expect it'll make more people happy than sad. I truly believe that the longer format will allow me to make higher value videos too, and I hope that that makes up for the fact that they'll be less frequent. Thank you, all of you who have supported me in any way, whether by suggesting topics, recommending my channel to others, or even financially via Patreon. I don't love magic, I don't love producing videos. I love having a positive community who value the work that I'm doing. All of you are what kept me going through 5 years making over 1,000 educational videos. You are who I'm thinking about for the next 5 years and the next 1,000 videos. But that's all I have for you this year. How did you do? Join me again next year for another daily ruling. But until then, I hope you have a great life.